Hello everybody, my name is Marlo and welcome back to the survival world. I hope you're all doing very well and continuing to stay safe. As you can see behind me here, I have just finished doing some tree chopping on my little island here just beside the main house over there, and I could really do with decorating this place a little bit because it looks super ugly with all this podzol everywhere from all the 2x2 spruce trees I constantly make over here. So maybe at the end of the episode today, if we have some time remaining, we can come over here and make it not look so terrible, but for right now we're going to head over to the village and do some work over there. Starting off outside of the village walls over here at our villager breeder that we built this thing on the surface of last episode, and I'm flying on the floor now apparently. So yeah, I said in the episode what is going on that I wasn't too fond of this build right here, and oh, there we are. Okay, I'm back to normal. I wasn't too fond of it. I thought it stood out a little bit too much. I'm not sure what all of you have said about it. The episode hasn't long gone live for me as I record this right now, so a lot of you haven't had your chance to get your comments in, but yeah, I'm not a big fan of this. It looks cool, don't get me wrong, but it just stands out with everything else going around us anyway. So I've had a better idea of something that's going to be pretty cool, so I'm going to jump straight into a time lapse to begin with here and get that built. So in replace of the obscure glass circle in the center of the ground, we are instead going to be building up a villager campsite, which I'm hoping we should actually get some use out of with being able to trade with them if I want to do that, as long as I can get them in place and make them safe and all that sort of stuff, but we'll worry about that afterwards. For right now, we're building it all up. So as you can see here, we're building a pretty large tent in the center above our glass circle, which is staying just so I can keep an eye on them from above, and it's pretty cool, the glass roof, I think anyway. So this is meant to be a little bit like a teepee, right? So it's a lot bigger than the other tents which we're going to build up now. Dot a few of them round, which is where our villagers will be staying, and I want to get your guys' thoughts on what maybe the purpose of these villagers can be. We're a little ways away from the village wall, but not too close to not considered a part of it, so whether they're just travelers or perhaps residents of the village that just go camping. Maybe not that one. Maybe we kind of need something a little bit cooler than that. Maybe they can be mercenaries or something like that. I don't know. Maybe you guys can let me know your ideas of the lore of this little campsite here in the comments down below. This is definitely better than what we had before, no doubt about it, but I think we're still missing something, mainly to do with the landscape, because I would say this still sticks out a little bit, and many people often say, Scar included, and he's the main one I'm taking pointers here from, but a build isn't complete until you have a complete landscape around. Now, custom landscaping and terraforming really isn't my cup of tea. I don't like it too much. I find it a bit tedious sometimes, but for a project of this size being very small, I think I can make an exception. So I'm going to change up the terrain a little bit around, put in some coarse dirt and all that type of stuff in. Maybe we can add a few custom trees, maybe a couple of fire pits, and just make this whole area a bit more interesting. It's not often I'll build something in survival without having already planned it first in creative. It's just better, easier, and 10 times more efficient if I do things that way around. So any structure you ever see me build in my videos, chances are I've built it in creative first of all in my test world. But with landscaping, it's a little bit different. You can't exactly plan for this sort of stuff. You just have to jump into it with a selection of blocks and see where you end up. It's definitely an enjoyable process. I can see how people love doing this sort of thing, but when it's on a big scale, it overwhelms me a little bit and takes far too long for my liking. But I do seriously enjoy doing it on a small scale like this. And you know, taking inspiration from Scar again, in his videos he often says, or has said before in the past, how custom landscaping is almost like painting. Now, I'm no painter by any stretch of the imagination, but I can definitely see what he means by that. You know, you place all these fine blocks down like a group of blocks to make a stroke of a paintbrush, and all of those little details come together to create a beautiful image, a picture, a painting, which obviously what we have here is by no means anywhere near as good as Scar or any other people who do terraforming who are remotely good at it. But yeah, I can definitely see how this can help a build. One thing I do not enjoy about those type of projects is once you're done, you have all of these items to drop back off into your storage system, and if you're a simple man like me, you don't have an automated storage system because redstone is hard, so yeah, I've now got to drop all of this off, chest by chest, going through them all. That really wasn't too bad. It only took me a couple of minutes to put everything away, but yeah, let's go take a look at our new campsite, all revitalized and looking awesome. I think there were a couple of things that didn't quite fit into the time-lapse with how I rendered the camera path to be, like this little cooking station over here didn't quite fit in. We just got a cauldron above a campfire hanging from some fences here, and we've got some armor stands just to look like it's a little bit extra detailed. Not too sure what these two are doing in the pole, maybe just to look like some extra support, but then this one maybe is what we can hang some food on or something like that. It's dipping down into the cauldron. Yeah, just to make it look a bit more interesting with the flower pots as well. And something else I did right at the start was change up some of these wall blocks on our main teepee here, just to make it look a bit more interesting and not quite as symmetrical on all four of the sides here. Haven't done that with the tents because if you were to change like a single block on these, it can kind of ruin the look of it. But as you can see, if we just head inside here, whoop, go this way around, our glass floor is still here, so we can look at our farmer working away down there, harvesting all the crops, making all the babies, and that's what I actually want to do now. Not make the babies with the villagers, no, I want to actually get some villagers into all of these tents here. So maybe let's go to bed. Can I go to bed? No, not quite yet. All of these are actually safe, like the villagers cannot get in nor out as we have these fences here, so I think I should actually be able to trap them inside. That's the theory at least. I'm gonna bring one over and see if it actually works how I'm intending it to. That's a nice view, isn't it? Very peaceful. Oh, also, with the custom trees here, they do actually differentiate a little bit between each of them, depending on where they're placed down. So you can see the ones on the outskirts are a little bushier than the rest, and then we have a couple that are nearer the fire here. This one, for example, is entirely dead. No leaves on it whatsoever. This one doesn't have quite as many as the others, and same with that one over there. And I was thinking maybe they caught an ember off this flame here and burnt away some of the leaves, and obviously the ones that are not next to the fire remain nice and bushy. I've got my rails in hand and I'm ready to start changing the path of this to make them wrap round to our campsite over here so we can get some villagers in place. But before we do that, I thought I would maybe talk you through some of my concerns with this that I've now, once I've built it, just thought it may be a little bit problematic. So as you can hear, the villager breeder is, and saw obviously inside the teepee, the villager breeder is right underneath here, and that may cause some problems. So I want to have a workstation and a bed inside each of these tents, but I don't want the villagers underneath here to lock onto them. I don't even know whether they can or if it'll mess anything up or whatever really. As you guys know, villagers not my thing. So I don't know if that's going to cause a problem. There's also gaps for baby zombies to get into them. I think a baby zombie can fit through there. Pretty certain anyway, so that's something else to worry about. And then I know I could spawn in an iron golem, but I don't know if that would mess up the villager breeder somehow. So really, I have no idea what's going to happen. It's going to be a bit of a experiment, shall we say. Solution to problem number one. I've rotated the trapdoors like this and this, which hopefully should stop baby zombies from getting in. It did in my test world at least. Solution to problem number two. Get the villager inside of the tent before putting down the workstation. Ah, didn't think about that. I need to go break the cauldron over here. Oh, the armor stands on fire. Oh, I've just broken everything with stupid sweeping edge. Okay, I'll just get rid of these temporarily and come back here. Now it's gone in the fern. I have to break my fern to get it back. Oh, this is going terribly. Okay, I'll sort all of that out after. Hopefully that should have now gotten rid of his trade. Yes, good. He's a nitwit again. I guess I can break his minecart out. Let's try not to murder him in the process. Come on. Let's get it, please. Why can I not? Do I need to like get in there with you? Maybe that's what's going on here. Okay, place that back so you don't escape. And freedom. Cool, okay, you're still in place. You can be whatever workstation this is. So hopefully, the theory is I'm going to place this down and he will lock onto it before anybody else does. Let's just give it a go. Okay, cool. So now if I trade with him, didn't bring any emeralds with me, but if I trade with him, he should now stay like this, right? And not switch and not let anybody else have his profession. That's what I'm hoping, at least. Let's place his bed down too, so he has a place to sleep. I only had one measly emerald, as you can see, so I've just replaced his workstation down, and then I can trade with him, and he now should be locked in place. Was there even a problem number 3? I can't remember anymore. Maybe the iron golems, although I suppose we don't need them anymore with the trapdoors positioned how they are. So yeah, I now have 3 more workstations to place down, as you can see. 3 tents open for 3 villagers that I'm now going to bring up, and hopefully all goes smoothly, although I imagine it won't. It is villagers after all. There's a cat here now. Does that mean I've just made a village? Is that going to complicate things? Although the villager breeder is technically a village, right? So I don't know whether it would. You guys may have to help me out on that one, or I guess I'll find out over the duration of the rest of this episode. But yes, as you probably saw there in the time lapse, we now have all of the villagers in place. I'll get the rest of that off camera. But yeah, we've got the armor, weaponsmith, toolsmith, and butcher. Why? They got cool skins. I don't know how much actual trading I'll do with these guys, but yeah, I didn't really put too much thought into the actual professions for their trading purposes. Maybe I'll use them from time to time, but they're locked and all in place, and yeah, went fairly smoothly, honestly. And hopefully I haven't caused a big problem with my villager breeder. Please let me know if I have in the comments, but now I need to prepare my Cauldron Cooker thing over here. Not gonna actually put the cauldron in place now, as I don't want it causing issues with the villagers underground, but as you can see, this is how I make it, basically pushing the fences into the armor stand. Just wanted to put shaders on for a second to take a walk around this place as the sun was setting. It's really lovely, isn't it, over here? I think it's safe to say we can call this little project done for the meantime. I will continue to come back and keep an eye on everybody, still make sure things are ticking over underground, of course, and it hasn't all just gone haywire. Fingers crossed it'll be okay though. And yeah, I don't know why I lag so much with shaders on. I never ever had this problem in 1.14 with BSL shaders. It was, you know, absolutely fine and nearly, you know, 90 to 100 FPS, but as you can see, I'm struggling. I don't know why. Maybe I haven't quite got my settings figured out correctly, so that's why I leave shaders to the time lapses, and the time lapses only for the most part. We're about halfway through today's episode, and we haven't touched a village at all, really. We've only stayed out there by our campsite, and I'd like to change that now. We're going to do one of our villager professions again, and this time it's going to be the shepherd over here. As you can see, I've got an area marked out for it, and I've also got the build designed in a creative test world. Trouble is, that build is all built on one Y level, and this one has some terrain that kind of differentiates a little bit, goes up and down, and I'd like to incorporate that into the build. Trouble is, I don't know whether I'm going to be able to, so pretty much I'm going to copy over what I've got in my test world and try and work around the terrain best as I can. If I really can't do it and I'm struggling, then I'll of course just flatten it down, but yeah, we're going to do the shepherd's house now. That wasn't actually too bad, to be honest. I mean, we only went up one block, so really there were only a couple of alterations I had to make to the original design. Like, everything you see on this level down here is just got an extra block below it, or I've changed something about the original plan I had in mind. But yeah, for the most part, wasn't too bad at all. I think I'll try to do that a bit more in the future. But as you can see, once again, a very diagonal building, this one. Looks a little bit strange, I think, but I think it's good. I don't know. I'm still getting used to just looking at the diagonal builds. They always look quite strange, like the trim of the roof is a bit crazy, I think, but for the most part it's pretty good, I would say. So let's head inside here. As you can see, I have moved some sheep in place, as this is our shepherd. They probably should have some sheep to shepherd, I guess. And on the inside here we have our loom. I've only got one of them just because I didn't want to cause complications with having two workstations. I don't really know how to make a loom in Minecraft other than just placing down the actual block, so I've done this. And then we've got some dyed banners over here, and I'm thinking maybe this is a banner in the process of being dyed perhaps. And then over here is where they go to bed, and a bunch of stuff just decorated on the shelves. So yeah, this is the shepherd's building, and we've got a bit of, you know, the mud and dirt dragged in from the outdoors because the sheep are gonna probably walk in here a little bit. So yeah, that's the building. I now have to get a shepherd on over from our villager reader, which hopefully hasn't fallen apart entirely. All appears to be in working order, or at least I think so. The only thing I believe may happen is if a villager here gets scared by a zombie, they may spawn an iron golem. Now, I don't know if that's necessarily a bad thing. It's absolutely fine if they spawn a couple up here on the surface, you know, but if they start spawning underground in our actual village breeder, then that could potentially cause some issues. So yeah, fingers crossed that doesn't happen. But I'm now going to make the rail go all the way to the shepherd's house, bring a minecart over with hopefully one of our many villagers inside. I have turned the breeder off, but it doesn't seem to ever reduce the amount of villagers here. It just seems endless all the time. And off you go. So I have actually set up a little something as a in-between part from the villager breeder and the actual village that we did in a live stream. You can see he's about to approach it here. Do actually need to give him a little bit of a helping hand. It's very rudimentary, shall we say. I think I actually have to break this to get him in, but if I just follow him down, you can see, oh, there's already a minecart here. Okay, that is gone now. This is like a small trading station if I happen to need it. So I've got all of the workstations in here for all of the villagers. So what is the shepherd? The loom, right? So maybe I wanted to do some trading with him and kind of pick his trades as opposed to just having them be random. I can put this down and look at his trades. I don't want brown wool. Let's switch that up, do it again, and do this trick, you know, to kind of pick and choose what I want. Thankfully for the shepherd, I don't really care what he has to offer, so I'm just gonna maybe try and get an emerald trade first of all. I don't really know, but sure, that's fine. And then I can press this button here and send him on his way. And then eventually, as you can see, he ends up in his home. And I've shown you this enough times. I don't think we really need to do this every single time we bring a villager over, but I'm going to get rid of all the rails, do some trading with him, get him up to master level. I do actually need to solidify his trades by locking them in place. And yeah, so that is all we're going to do over here at the village for today. I think we can shut that off, break his minecart, and not like that. Break his minecart like this. Okay, cool. Then we can go do something else. Do any of you guys know why some of my villagers' trades haven't reset? They still have this X arrow on them. I thought this was their workstation, but I don't know if they're like not paying attention to it for some reason. The mason is doing it, as well as the Fletcher over there. The cleric's fine, he's reset his trades, but yeah, the Fletcher over here hasn't. So am I doing something wrong there? I don't know. I could be. I'll see what you guys have to say about that. Something that's probably worth mentioning real quick is the cleric, who does reset his trades, spends a lot of his time by his workstation over there, the brewing stand, but the stonemason and the Fletcher spend all day bouncing by the door. We're going to spend the last few minutes of today's episode working on the island I mentioned at the start of the video, but for right now I quickly just want to show you this little contraption beside my bed, which is something I saw in a video from a good friend of mine's, Decoy. I'm going to leave his link in the description, and I'd recommend going and checking out some of his stuff as well as his explanation on how this works. It's pretty simple, but I'm not going to bother, but yeah, go do that because I really seriously enjoy watching his videos. They are incredibly relaxing and I genuinely think you guys might enjoy it as well. So yeah, go check out Decoy. His link is in the description as I said, but virtually this contraption that he showcased in his episode is a time to go to bed machine. I've made one slight adjustment and replaced this was a redstone lamp with a dispenser which has a bunch of firework rockets inside. So I'm going to have a visual and audio cue when it's time to go to bed. I will show you it when we start getting nearer sunset. Okay, so as you can see, the sun is beginning to go behind the trees, which means it's nearing nighttime. I may have been a little bit early to this, but as you can see, still can't sleep, but in a short amount of time, hopefully this should send off a rocket, and I will be able to rest my head on that soft-looking pillow. And there we go. A bang in the sky too, and now it's time to go to bed. So that is super helpful. Thank you, Decoy, for showing me that little trick. And now we're going to quickly do some work on this island here and just make this not as disgusting to look at. That's really all I want to do here. That was about an hour's work all within 20 seconds, a rather fast time lapse to say the least, and I'm still not quite done with this island here. There's a few other things I'd like to add, but I am going to call it for the episode today as I kind of want to do the other things in a live stream on the weekend. The weekend just gone for you guys by the time you're watching this video. I'd like to get some turtles to kind of inhabit this island. You can mess around with their spawning. If you lay there or hatch their eggs on the sand, they should return back to it. At least that's how they used to work. Hopefully things haven't changed, so I'd like to get some turtles. A bridge going across would be nice, just a simple thing stretching to the other piece of land there, and maybe a few other details here and there, and my sugarcane still have to grow up. And yeah, a few other things that I'll probably improve upon, which you guys will see the progress of next episode. But for now, guys, that is going to do it for today's episode. I really hope you did enjoy it, and I will see you next time. Bye for now.